This week on Supercars Talk, I take a look at the top 5 drivers from Garry Rogers Motorsport. Now, for something a little bit different this week, I'm taking a look at the top 5 drivers from Garry Rogers Motorsport over the years. This one was suggested by Ben Anthony. I have done some videos from other teams previously, so have a look in the back catalogue if you want to check them out. Now, in this series, I look at the driver's time at that team, not what they've subsequently gone on and done. It's only their results at that team. So those guys looking for Jamie Whincup in this list might be sorely disappointed. Unfortunately, him getting sacked at the end of year one with the team and basically having no results, that doesn't mean he gets to make it on this list. His best result was an 11th that year and 27th in the championship. So, no need on there. Also, I am only looking at the drivers from the Supercars era on this. Nothing from when Garry was running as kind of an owner driver back earlier in his career, or from the Super Touring, TCR, etc. kind of days. It is just Garry Rogers Motorsport in Supercars. There was a total of 43 drivers to choose from for this list. There was realistically 16 full-time guys. All the others kind of co-drivers, or there was a few one-offs in there. But they're a bit hard to get on this list if it's a very, very short period with the team. And also, I did look at the Super 2 list. I class that as part of Supercars as well. And it wasn't a satellite squad or anything. It was run by Garry Rogers Motorsport. They did run a car early on for Leanne Ferrier at the time. I think she's going back running by Leanne Ferrier anyway. But they really only ran in the Super 2 series from 2015 to 2019, and only 2 of the drivers in that program didn't actually make a main game start for the team. So that's the basis on it. Has to be a supercar driver and pretty much a full-timer. The guys that just missed out on the list, Cameron Mconville, who was with the team from 2004 to 2005, basically because he got that win for Garry Rogers Motorsport. Those who were around at the time. Winton, it was a single race over the weekend at that point there. And he mugged Rick Kelly there on the last lap. There was a yellow flag situation, and Rick thought it was yellow flag until they crossed the line, but there was actually a green flag 2 corners from home, and Mconville dove into that last kind of 2-corner section and took the win off Rick right at the death knell there. The other 2 that just missed out were 2 guys who crossed over at the team. Lee Holdsworth, who was there from 2005 to 2011. 2 wins and a Bathurst podium in 6 years with the team, not quite enough to make the list. And then Michael Caruso, who was there from 2008 to 2012 and returned in 2019 for some Enduros. He took 1 win and a podium at Bathurst with Lee Holdsworth, 4 years at the team, not quite enough result-wise to get themselves on the list. So, now let's crack on with the men who made it. In 5th position, we have Chris Pifer, who was with the team from 2018 to 2019. Now, some of you may ask, does Chris really deserve to be on this list for his main game exploits with the team? Well, no, definitely not. But it is his Super 2 days with the team that got him on here. He won the championship, the only championship for GRM to win. I think they might have knocked off one now in Trans Am, but their only Supercars championship win. For all the Garry giving young guys a shot. I was surprised at how short a time they spent in the Super 2 series. And this was their only win in that 2nd division, obviously. It wasn't just a walkover year. He beat Paul Dumbrell, who was with Super 2's crack squad, Eggleston Motorsport at the time. The other guys in the mix that year, this is a big list of who's who of the Super 2 series, really. Gary Jacobson, Brodie, Jake, Kurt Kostecki, Will Brown, Dean Fiore, Macaulay Jones, Jack Smith, Bryce Ford and Thomas Randall were all part of that series, and Chris was the winner there. He only took 2 wins during the year, but there was another 5 podium positions, and all other times all other races, but for one, he was within the top 7 of the championship, while Paul Dumbrell was nearly as consistent, but he did have a retirement at Bathurst, which was a single event, so double points there. That caused a lot of the 59-point deficit he had to Chris Pifer at the end of the season. So for his exploits in Super 2, Chris Pifer gets 5th in this list. Coming in number 4 is Stephen Richards, who was with the team from 1996 to 1998. Well, depends how you look at it. 2 12ths in the championship and then disappearing 3 rounds into the 1998 season to go testing some Nissans over in England. Wouldn't normally get you on one of these lists, but Stephen, he was the main man with the team. As I hinted before, he was a full-time driver for the team in 1995 in the Super Touring campaign, and he did double duties with Supercars and Super Touring in 1996 and 1997. Part of that was then his Super Touring exploits with over here in Australia with Nissan, and then he went and got that job over in the BTCC when he left Garry Rogers for someone else to come in who's further down this list. The highlight, though, for the team was that 1997 endurance campaign. It wasn't part of the championship at the time, but they were Supercars races. Stephen teamed up with his father, Jim, and they finished 5th at Sandown before finishing 2nd at Bathurst, being the inaugural driver for the team. And that great endurance campaign in 1997 gets himself on this list. In the 3rd position is Jason Baguana, who was with the team from 1998 to 2002. Now, Jason was a man who went from hero to zero at Bathurst in 1997, putting the Holden Young Lions car on provisional pole and then destroying it on morning warm-up there on Sunday. And basically getting, I suppose, fired on the spot from the Young Lions program. But Garry gave him a lifeline in 1998 after, seeing that raw speed from him at Bathurst. Gave him a shot, as Garry did with young drivers. And he repaid the faith with a podium in only the 2nd round with the team at Symmons Plains, and then he took a win at Calder Park later on in the year. See, Brock Feeney and Matt Payne aren't the only guys to win in their debut year. There was 4 other podiums over the last 2 rounds of the season. That saw him 7th in the standings. Even back then, extremely strong first campaign with the team. 1999 saw him get off to a very slow start in the championship as he debuted the team's first in-house built car, a VT Commodore, while his teammate Garth Tander was still driving the tried and trusted VS Commodore from the year before. Jason, though, hit his stride in the 4th last round at Symmons Plains, finishing 4th, 2nd and 3rd across the 3 races, and then they went to Winton, where he dominated the weekend, taking all 3 wins from the 3 starts. The slow start to the year saw him finish down in 11th in the points. The year 2000 saw him return to the podium another 6 times with a win at Winton again, but the highlight of the year was the 2000 Bathurst, where he teamed up with Garth Tander and they went and took the win. That was the first and only Bathurst 1000 win for GRM. They would have put, with Garth's, running in the championship, spoiler alert, he's further down in this list. That would have put them second in the team's championship if that was a thing back then, which would have been a very solid result for the small and still young team there. But it would have been a bitter pill to swallow for Jason. While he was only 7th in the standings, his teammate was 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. He then spent 2 more years with the team, but that only saw 3 podiums over that period, one being a win on the streets of Surface Paradise, but that was 15th and 13th in the championship those 2 years, and then he moved on to Leica Motorsport after that. Number 2 in this list is someone I've hinted at previously, Garth Tander. He had 2 stints from the team from 1998 to 2004 and then 2017 to 2018. As I said before, Stephen Richards went off to do BTCC testing duties in 1998, so the car was available for Garth to have his debut run. Despite him missing the first 3 rounds in the year, he ended up 14th in the championship with the best result of 6th at Calder Park. His second year was much more fruitful in the team though, taking his first win at Calder Park with another 8 podiums over the year, which included 3rd place at the opening round at Eastern Creek. That was 5th in the championship, which led into the 2000 series, which was the year of years for the team. As I said before, they did end up 2nd in the team's championship, and Garth was there taking the championship fight to Mark Scaife. Craig Lowndes ended up 3rd in that championship, so Garth split the HRT duo. During the year, there was 3 wins, with one of those, of course, being the main event, where he teamed up with Jason Baguana, taking out the Bathurst 1000. I covered that off before, so I won't go into that too much. But during the year, there was a hell of a lot of consistency. 15 other podium finishes, 5 times he was 4th, 1 time 5th, 3 times 6th, and 2 times 10th in the championship. So there's only 4 finishes outside of the top 10 that year. And as I said, that saw him 2nd in the championship, and the team took 2nd in what, if there was a team's championship back then, they would have been 2nd, which was mighty impressive. Unfortunately for Garth, the team started on a bit of a slide after that. Saw him finish 10th, 10th, 12th and 11th over the next 4 years. That led him to look for a drive elsewhere. It was a huge drop after the success of, the year 2000, and he only had 7 podiums and no wins over the remaining 4 years with the team. He did return for 2017 and 2018, but the team was in a definite down period at this time. He only took 2 periods over the 2 years there, and then was dumped in the off-season before the 2019 championship when Peter Adderton came along with his boost bucks and wanted him to make way for Richie Stanaway. Garth, of course, wasn't without a drive for long, getting the co-driver role next to Shane Van Gisbergen, and over the next 4 years added 2 more Bathurst wins to his tally. So it didn't all end up too bad for Garth in the end. And that leads us to number 1 on this list, a Scott McLaughlin, who was there from 2012 to 2016. After wrapping up the Super 2 Championship in Homebush, Scott got the call up early to replace Alex Premer for the Sunday race after Alex was sick in the Saturday race. It was an unspectacular 17th on debut, but then bigger things were to come in the year 2013 when the series went over to Gen 3. A good start in Adelaide saw him finish 6th and 9th over the 2 races. Then we had the Grand Prix supports, which at the time weren't part of the championship. So Scott didn't get his first championship win, but he did get his first Supercars win there on the streets of Melbourne. He had to wait another 2 rounds before he got his first win there at home in Pukekohe. A pretty impressive start to his campaign as a full-time driver, especially when you consider where GRM was the previous few years. He backed that up with another win at Queensland Raceway later on in the year for 10th in the championship. In 2014, we saw GRM switch over to the Volvos, and over the next 3 years, Scott took 6 wins with the team, 4 of them at the Phillip Island circuit, 17 other podiums for 5th, 8th, and then 3rd in his final campaign with the team. That's where I'm putting him number 1 on this list. It might be a bit disputed because Garth Tander had a Bathurst win and did finish 2nd in the championship, but also Garth probably wasn't as consistent a finisher with the team over his time, whereas Scott was probably gradually improving over the years. And I think Scott would have probably stayed with the team had there not been the Volvo pullout and Penske coming knocking. I do wonder sometimes what they could have achieved, say in 2017, if the Volvo program had continued. And Scott was just coming on from leaps and bounds, as we saw him taking out 3 championships at Penske and then moving on to IndyCar. So down in the comments, let me know if you agree or disagree, and what is your list of the top 5 GRM drivers. And also, can you let me know which team you'd like me to feature next? If you haven't already seen them, I've already covered off Holden Racing Team, Dick Johnson Racing, Stone Brothers Racing, Tickford Racing, and Perkins Engineering. So there'll probably be a link as we show the credits to the other top 5 lists I've previously done. So definitely go and check them out if you haven't seen them. But yeah, let me know who you want me to cover off next. Anyway, until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.